So hi guys, I am Sherlyn and Sualog, and for today's topic, we'll tackle about the different rules of softball game. But before that, let us know what softball means. So softball is a sport similar to a baseball played on a small diamond with a ball that is larger than a baseball and that is pitched underhand also. So next, let us know who invented softball. So George Hancock, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's George Hancock invented the softball. So softball began in 1887 when George Hancock, a reporter for the Chicago Board of Trade, invented indoor baseball. By the spring of 1888, the baseball had spread outdoors. It was originally called either mash ball, kitten ball, or indoor baseball, but by the 1920s, it had acquired the name of softball. So let us proceed to our main topic, which is all about the softball rules. So let's proceed to the different rules of softball. So first, in the rule 1. Rule number 1, section 1, which is the altered bat. A bat is altered when the physical structure of a legal bat has been changed. Examples of altering a bat are replacing the handle of a metal bat with a wooden or other type handle, inserting material inside the bat, applying excessive tape more than 2 layers to the bat grip, or painting a bat at the top or bottom for other than identification purposes. Replacing the grip with another legal grip is not considered altering the bat. A flare or cone grip attached to the bat is considered an altered bat. So, engraved ID, marking on the knob and only of a metal but is not considered an altered bat. Engraved ID, marking on the barrel end of a metal bat is considered an altered bat. Laser marking for ID purposes anywhere on the bat is not considered an altered bat. So here in the rule number 1, section 1 talks about the bat of a softball when used in playing the game. So dito pinag-uusapan the rules kapag may mapalitan, may i-insert or may i-apply na iba't ibang tape or excessive tape. So, yun. Here in section 1, it talks about the bat. Okay, next, we have rule number 1, section 2, appeal play. A live or dead ball appeal is a play or situation on which an umpire cannot make a decision unless requested by a manager, coach, or player of the non-offending team. Note, a coach or manager may only make a dead ball appeal after stepping onto the playing field. So, if made by a fielder, the fielder must be in the infield when making the appeal. The appeal may not be made after any one of the following has occurred. A. A legal pitch has been thrown or an illegal pitch has been called. Exception. First in the exception, we have an appeal for the use of an illegal substitute, illegal re-entry, a replacement player or withdrawn player, or either leaving or returning to the lineup under the replacement player rule, and not reporting to the umpire can be made anytime while such player is still in the game. Second, an appeal for runners switching positions on the bases they occupied may be made at any time until all such runners are in the dugout or the half inning is over. So, yon, di ba? They can make an appeal except these two. They can make a legal pitch sa appeal nila during the legal pitch or illegal pitch when they making an appeal except these two. Kapag nag-appeal sila using the illegal substitute, hindi pwede yon. Yung parang illegal substitute which means magsasub sila ng another player during the appeal, 'di ba? Then yung illegal re-entry, yung mga replacement player or withdrawn player. So except yon, hindi sila makaka appeal if those are made or ginawa nila, ganun. So next, hindi sila makapag-appeal ulit kapag yung runner is nag-switch position. The runners are switching positions on the bases they occupied may be made at any time until all such runners are in the dugout or the half inning is over. So yon. So B, the pitcher and all B, the pitcher and all defensive players have left fair territory or the umpires have left the field of play following the last play of the game. So these are the types of the appeals na pwede nilang ma-appeal during the playing appeal. So first, missing a base, letter A, missing a base. B, leaving a base on a caught fly ball before the ball is first touched. C, batting out of order. D, attempting to advance to second base after making a turn at first base. E, illegal substitutions. F, the use of unannounced players under the replacement player rule. G, illegal re-entry. H, the use of unannounced players under the designated player rule. And lastly, runners switching positions on the bases they occupied. So, yun yung nasa rule number 1, section 2. Next, we have the rule number 1, section 3, which is the ball compression. So, ball compression is the load force in kilograms or pounds required to compress a softball by 6.5 mm or 0.25 inches when measured in accordance with the ASTM or the American Society for So next, this rule number 1, section 3, which is the ball compression. So ball compression is the load force in kilograms or pounds required to compress a softball in 6.5 mm or 0.25 inches. When measured in accordance with the ASTM or American Society for Testing and Materials test method for measuring compression displacement of softballs. Syempre, 'di ba? Before starting the game, dapat i-check talaga yung mga facilities, yung equipments, before talaga mag-start. So, dito, sa section 3 ng rule number 1, chine-check yung bola. Kasi, di ba, dapat may exact weight yan, may exact inches or millimeter yan na susundin. And it is checked by the American Society for Testing and Materials or ASTM for the assurance or reassuring that the ball is really good and conditioned before starting the game. Next, we have the rule number 1, section 4, the ball core. The coefficient of restitution of a softball when measured with the ASTM or American Society for Testing and Materials test method for measuring the coefficient of restitution of softball. So, yun. Ito na naman sa ball pa rin. Chine-check pa rin nila yung bola ng softball. So, next, rule number 1, section 5 is the baseline. A baseline is a direct line between bases. So, yun. Next, we have the rule number 1, section 6, base on balls. So, dito tayo. Sa section 6, base on balls. FP and SP. A base on balls occurs when 4 pitches are judged by the plate umpire to be balls including illegal pitches. The batter is awarded first base. This is sometimes referred to as a walk or FP, the ball is alive, SP, the ball is dead. Next, rule number 1, section 7, base path. A base path is a direct line between a base and the runner's position at the time a defensive player is attempting or about to attempt to tag a runner. So, yun. 'Di ba? Meron naman base talaga yung softball. So, yun. Ito yung base path na tinatawag nila. Base path ang tawag nila. Yun yung pag-attempt nila na, 'di ba, pag kunwari may nag-pitch na And then, if ever na salo nung or nabat na ng other team, 'di ba kailangan saluin yun ng other team din. And then, base path yung tawag sa mga runners nila, yung parang 'di ba may yan siya, may sign or parang may sako or depende kasi yun. So yung ganon, base path ang tawag doon. Next, we have the rule number 1, section 8, the batted ball. A batted ball is any ball that hits the bat or is hit by the bat and lands either in fair or foul territory. No intention to hit the ball is necessary. So, yun. Yung pagbat na ng ball, yung tatamaan na nila yung ball. So, kapag nagland yun sa fair or foul territory, pwede yung hindi tatamaan ng other team. Pwede nila hindi tamaan yung bola kapag naglands ito, pag na-pitch or na-lands ito sa fair or foul territory. So, yun. Next, rule number 1, section 9, batter. A batter is an offensive player who enters the batter's box with the intention of aiding his team to score runs. He continues to be a batter until he is either declared out by the umpire or he becomes a batter runner. Next, we have the rule number 1, section 10, batter's box. The batter's box is the area to which the batter is restricted while in position with the intention of helping his team to obtain runs. The lines are considered as being within the batter's box. Rule number 1, section 11, batter runner. A batter runner is a player who has finished a turn at bat but has not yet been put out or touched first base. So, yun yung batter runner. Pag kunwari, yung batter runner is yung magtatama ng bola. Pag natama, pag a batter runner is a player who has finished a turn at bat but has not yet been put out or touched first base, out na yun, di ba? Kasi pag dapat nagbat siya and natamaan din, kailangan matouch niya talaga yung base or yung mga base path or yung first base. So next, we have the rule number 1, section 12, batting order. The batting order is the official listing of offensive players in the order in which members of the team must come to bat. When the lineup card is submitted, it shall also include each player's position. So, yun yung batting order, yung list ng mga players na in order. Next is the rule number 1, section 13, blacked ball. A blacked ball is a batted, thrown, or pitched ball that A. becomes lodged in the fencing or is touched, stopped, or handled by a person not engaged in the game, or touches any object that is not part of the official equipment or playing area, or is touched by a defensive player who is in contact with the ground that is not part of the playing area. So, a thrown ball touching a base coach accidentally or in or out of the coach's box is not a black ball. Next, rule number 1, section 14, bunt, for FP only. A bunt is a batted ball not swung at, but intentionally met with the bat and tapped slowly within the playing field. Next, rule number 1, section 15, catch. A catch is legally caught ball which occurs when the fielder catches a batted or thrown ball with his hands or glove. A. In establishing a valid catch, the fielder shall hold the ball long enough to prove the ball is securely held and or that the release of the ball is voluntary and intentional. If the player drops the ball after reaching into the glove to remove it or while in the act of throwing, it is a valid catch. Next, if the ball is merely held in the fielder's arms or prevented from dropping to the ground by some part of the fielder's body, equipment, or clothing, the catch is not completed until the ball is in the grasp of the fielder's hands or glove. Next, the fielder's feet must be within the field of play, touching the out of play line or being in the air after leaving live ball territory in order to have a valid catch. If the player has control of the ball when returning to the ground in the out of play area, it is a valid catch. A player who is in out of play area and returns to the live ball territory must have both feet touching the playable area prior to touching the ball in order to have a valid catch. Next, it is not a catch if a fielder or while gaining control collides with another player, umpire or a fence, or falls to the ground and drops the ball as a result of the collision or falling to the ground. Next, a batted ball striking anything other than a defensive player while it is in flight is ruled the same as if it struck the ground. Next, section 16, catcher's backs. The catcher's backs is that area within which the catcher must remain until, for the FP only, the pitch is released. The lines are to be considered within the catcher's backs. For SP only, the pitch ball is batted, touches the ground, plate or batter, or reaches the catcher's backs. The lines are to be considered within the catcher's backs. The catcher's is considered within the backs except when touching the ground outside the catcher's backs. Next, Section 17, Charge Conference. A charge conference takes place when A. Offensive conference. The offensive team requests the suspension of play or delays play to allow the manager or other team representative to confer with any member of their team. Defensive conference. The defensive team requests the suspension of play to allow a representative of the defensive team to enter the playing field to communicate with any defensive player, or a fielder leaves his position and goes to the dugout and gives the umpire reason to believe that he received instruction. Note to section 17B. It is not a charge conference if the coach or manager notifies the plate umpire of a change of pitchers either before or after communicating with the pitcher. Next, section 18, chopped ball. A chopped hit ball is one at which the batter strikes downward with a chopping motion of the bat so that the ball bounces high into the air. Section 19, coach. A coach is a person who is responsible for the team's actions on the field and he represents the team in communications with the umpire and opposing team. A player may be designated as a coach in the event the coach is absent or the player is a playing coach. B. For the purpose of these rules, the manager of a team is considered to be the head coach. Next, section 20. A crow hop is defined. Section 20, crow hop. For FP only. A crow hop is defined as the act of a pitcher who does not push off from the pitcher's plate to deliver the ball. This is an illegal act if the pitcher steps off the pitcher's plate, thereby establishing a second impetus or a starting point, and then pushes off from the new starting point and completes the delivery. Section 21, dead ball. A dead ball is one that touches any object that is not part of the official equipment or official playing area or a player person not engaged in the game, or lodges in the umpire's gear or in an offensive player's clothing, or the umpire has ruled dead. Next, section 22, defensive team. The defensive team is the team in the field. Delayed dead ball. Section 23, delayed dead ball. A delayed dead ball is a game situation in which the ball remains alive until the conclusion of a play. When the entire play is completed, if required, the umpire shall rule a dead ball and enforce the appropriate ruling referred to Rule 9, Section 3. Section 24. Designated player or DP or if FP only. The designated player is a starting offensive player who bats in the lineup for the flex player listed in the 10th position on the lineup card. So, dito yung designated player, dapat nakalist siya sa number 10 doon sa lineup card na ipapasa nila. Yung in order na ng list of the name of the players na ipapasa nila. Next, Section 25. Dislodge base. A dislodge base is a base displaced from its proper position. Section 26. Double play. A double play is a play by the defense in which two offensive players are legally put out as a result of continuous action. Section 27. Dugout. The dugout is an area in dead ball territory designated for players, coaches, bat boys or girls, and the official representatives of the team only. There shall be no smoking in this area. Section 28. Ejection from the game. Ejection is the act of any umpire ordering a player, official, or any team members to leave the game and the grounds for a rule violation for the remainder of the game. Section 29. Fair ball. A fair ball is a legally batted ball which settles or is touched on or over fair territory between home and first base or between home and third base. Bounce past first of a third base on or over fair territory regardless of where the ball hits after going over the base. Touches first, second, or third base. While on or over fair territory touches the person or clothing of an umpire or player, while on or over fair territory touches the person or clothing of an umpire or player. First falls on fair territory beyond first and third base, while over fair territory passes out of the playing field beyond the outfield fence, while in flight hits the foul line pole. Note here in the section 29, a fair fly shall be judged according to the relative position of the ball and the foul line, including the foul pole, and not as to whether the fielder is on fair or foul territory at the time of touching the ball. It does not matter whether the ball first touches fair or foul territory, as long as it does not touch anything foreign to the natural ground in foul territory and complies with all other aspects of a fair ball. Second, the position of the ball at the time of interference determines whether the ball is fair or foul, regardless if the ball rolls untouched to foul or fair territory. Next, section 30, fair territory. Fair territory is the part of the playing field within and including the first and third base foul lines from home base to the bottom of the extreme playing field fence and perpendicularly upwards. Section 31, fake tag. A fake tag is a form of obstruction on a runner while advancing or returning to a base by a fielder who is not in possession of the ball that impedes the progress of the runner. The runner does not have to stop or slide. Merely showing down when a fake tag is simulated would constitute or obstruction. Section 32, fielder. A fielder is any defensive player of the team on the field. Section 33, fly ball. A fly ball is any ball batted into the air. Section 34, flex player, for FP only. The flex player is the starting player for whom the designated player or DP is batting and whose name appears in the 10th position in the line-up card. Section 35, a force out is an out which can be made only when a runner loses the right to the base which he is occupying because the batter becomes a batter runner and before the batter runner or a succeeding runner has been put out. On an appeal, play the force out is determined by the force situation at the time the appeal is made. not at the time of the infraction. Example, if the force has been broken by an out of a succeeding runner prior to the appeal, then this is no longer a force out. Section 36. Forfeit. Forfeit. A forfeit is the act of the plate umpire ruling that the game is over by declaring the non-offending team the winner. Section 37. Foul ball. A foul ball is a legally batted ball which settles on a foul territory between home and first base or between home and third base. Bounce past first or third on or over foul territory. First touches on foul territory beyond first or third base. While on or over foul territory touches the person, a touch or detached equipment or clothing of an umpire or player or any object foreign to the natural ground. Touches the batter or the bat in the batter's hand a second time while the batter is within the batter's backs. Goes directly from the bat, not higher than the batter's head, to any part of the catcher's body or equipment and is caught by another fielder. Hits the pitcher's plate and rolls and touch to foul territory before reaching first or third base. A foul fly shall be judged according to the relative position of the ball and the foul line, including the foul pole, and not as to whether the fielder is on fair or foul territory at the time of touching the ball. The position of the ball at the time of interference determines whether the ball is a fair or foul, regardless if the ball rolls untouched to foul or fair territory. Section 38. Foul territory. Foul territory is any part of the playing field that is not included in fair territory. Section 39. Foul tip. A foul tip is batted ball which goes directly from the bat to the catcher's hands, goes not higher than the batter's head, and is legally caught by the catcher. Section 40. Helmet. A helmet must have 2 air flaps and shall be the type that has safety features equal to or greater than those provided by the full plastic cap with padding on the inside, a liner covering the ears only does not meet the rule specification. Worn by a catcher may be the skull type without the air flaps. Worn by a defensive player does not need air flaps. What that is cracked, broken, dented, or altered shall be declared an illegal helmet and removed from the game. Section 41. Home team. The home team is the team on whose grounds the game is played, or if the game is played on neutral ground, the home team shall be designated by mutual agreement or by a flip of a coin. The home team shall take the third base dugout and play defense first. Section 42. Illegal bat. An illegal bat is one that does not meet the requirements of Rule 3, Section 1. Section 43. The illegal extra player or SP only. An illegal extra player is one who violates any of the provisions of Rule 4, Section 6. Section 44. Illegal pitcher. An illegal pitcher is a player legally in the game, but one who may not pitch as a result of being removed from the pitching position by the umpire as a result of the defensive charge conference limit being exceeded, or for the SP only being removed from the pitching position by the umpire as a result of pitching with excessive speed after a warning. Section 45. Illegal player. An illegal player is a player who takes a position in the lineup, either an offense or defense, who has not reported to the plate umpire. A player who takes a position on offense or defense who does not have a legal right to that position. Section 46. An illegal re-entry occurs when Section 46. Illegal re-entry. An illegal re-entry occurs when a starting player returns to the game a second time after twice being substituted. A starting player returns to the game after being substituted but not in his original position in the offensive lineup. A substitute who has legally been in the game returns to the game after being substituted for by either the original starting player or another substitute. The starting DP or FP only or his substitute is placed into the batting order in a position other than his original starting position. A flex player who is placed in the batting order in a position other than that of the starting DP. Section 47. Illegal substitute. An illegal substitute is a player who has entered the game without being announced to the umpire. He may be a substitute who has not previously been in the game, illegal player, declared ineligible player, illegal re-entry, illegal DP or flex player, or SP only or EP, a replacement player who remains in the game as an announced substitute for the withdrawn player who has not returned to the game within time permitted under the provisions of the replacement player rule. Section 48. Illegally batted ball. An illegally batted ball occurs when the batter hits the ball fair or foul, while his entire foot is completely out of the batter's backs on the ground when he makes contact with the ball, while any part of the batter's foot is touching home plate when he makes contact with the ball, while contacting the ball with an illegal, non-approved or altered bat after he steps with either foot entirely out of the batter's backs and then returns and makes contact with the ball while within the batter's backs. Section 49. Illegally caused ball. An illegally caused ball occurs when a fielder catches a batted ball, thrown or pitched ball with his cap, mask, glove, or any part of his uniform while it is detached from its proper place. Section 50. An ineligible player is a player who may no longer legally participate in the game because the umpire has removed him. An ineligible player may no longer participate as a player but may continue in the game as a coach. Section 51. Ineligible replacement player. An ineligible replacement player is a player who may not enter the game to replace a player who must leave the game to attend to an injury that has caused bleeding. An ineligible replacement player is one who has been removed from the game by the umpire for a violation of the rules, is not in the current lineup but eligible to enter the game. Section 52. In-flight. In-flight describes any batted, thrown, or pitched ball that has not yet touched the ground or some object other than fielder. Section 53. Jeopardy. In jeopardy is a term indicating that the ball is in play and an offensive player may be put out. Section 54. Infield. The infield is that portion of the field in fair territory that includes areas normally covered by the infielders. Section 55. An infielder is a defensive player, including the pitcher and catcher, who is generally positioned anywhere or within the lines of the base path forming fair territory. A player who normally plays in the outfield may be considered an infielder if he moves into the area normally covered by the infielders. Section 56. Infield fly. An infield fly is fair fly ball, not including a line drive or an attempted bunt, but can be caused by the infielder with ordinary effort when first and second or first, second, and third bases are occupied before two are out. The pitcher, catcher, and any outfielder that positions himself in the infield on the play shall be considered infielders for the purpose of this rule. Note: Section 57. Inning. An inning is that portion of a game within which the teams alternate on offense and defense and in which there are 3 outs for each team. A new inning begins immediately after the final out of the previous inning. Section 58. Intentional base on balls. An intentional base on balls occurs when the defensive team desires to place the batter on first base without the requirement to deliver 4 pitch balls. This is referred to as an intentional walk. The ball is dead. Section 59. Intentional dropped fly ball. It's a fair fly ball including a line drive or a bunt with less than 2 outs and the runner on first base, which can be caused by an infielder with ordinary effort and the infielder intentionally drops after it is controlled with a hand or a glove. A chopped ball or a fly ball allowed to bounce shall not be considered as having been intentionally dropped. Section 60. Interference is the act of an offensive player or team member that impedes or hinders or confuses a defensive player attempting to execute a play. An umpire who impedes a catcher's attempt to throw out a runner who is off the base. An umpire or runner being hit with a fair batted ball prior to it passing an infielder, excluding the pitcher. A spectator who reaches it into the playing field and impedes a fielder playing the ball or makes contact with the ball that a fielder is attempting a play on. Okay, next, section 61, leaping for FP only. Leaping is the act of a pitcher that causes him to be airborne on his initial move and push from the pitcher's plate. The momentum built by the forward movement of the pitcher causes the entire body, including both the pivot and stepping or non-pivot foot to be in the air at the same time and moving towards home plate. The pitch is completed when the pitcher lands and with a continuous motion delivers the ball to the plate. The pivot foot may push off and or follow through with this continuous action. Leaping is a legal act. Section 62, legal touch or tagged. A legal touch tag is the action of a fielder in touching or tagging a batter, runner, or runner who is not in contact with a base with the ball securely held in his hands or glove. The ball is not considered as having been securely held if it is juggled or dropped by the fielder after touching or tagging the batter, runner, or runner. Unless the player deliberately knocks the ball from the hands or glove of the fielder, the runner must be touched or tagged with the hands or glove with which the ball is held. A base with the ball securely held in his hands or glove. The base may be touched or tagged with any part of the body to be a legal touch or tag. Example, the fielder could touch or tag the base with a foot, with a hand, sit on the base, etc. This would apply on any force out or appeal situation. Section 63. Legal cauthed ball. A legally cauthed ball occurs when a fielder catches a batted, thrown, or pitched ball, provided it is not caught in the fielder's cap, helmet, mask, protector, pocket, or other part of his uniform. It must be caught and firmly held in the hands or glove. Section 64. Line drive. A line drive is a ball in flight that is batted sharply and directly into the playing field. Section 65. Line-up and line-up card. A line-up is the list players who are currently involved playing offensive and defensive positions in the game, including the DP and flex player or FP only and EP or SP only. If being used, the line-up card will contain the last name, first name, position, and uniform number of the starting players in the lineup, and the last name, first name, and uniform number of available substitutes, and the last name and first name of the manager. Section 66. Obstruction. Obstruction is the act of a defensive player or team member who hinders or prevents a batter from striking at or hitting a pitch ball. A fielder who impedes the progress of a runner or batter-runner who is legally running bases while not in possession of the ball or not in the act of fielding a batted ball, or making a fake tag without the ball, or in possession of the ball and who pushes a runner off a base, or in a position of the ball but not in the act of making a play on the runner impedes the progress of that runner while he is legally running the bases. Section 67. Offensive player only. For FP only. An offensive player on Oppo is a player in the Section 67, offensive player only, for FP only. An offensive player only or OPO is a player in the batting order other than the flex for whom the DP is playing defense. The OPO continues to play offense but not play defense. Section 68, offensive team. The offensive team is the team at a bat. sila yung tatama sa bola. Section 69, official equipment. Official equipment. Official equipment is considered to be any equipment, bats, gloves, helmet, etc. In current use by the defensive or offensive team in the course of play, defensive equipment, gloves, for example, left on the field by the team playing offense would not be considered as official equipment. Section 70. On-deck batter. The on-deck batter is the offensive player whose name follows the name of the batter in the batting order. Section 71. On-deck circle. The on-deck circle is that area where the on-deck batter may warm up or takes practice swings while waiting his turn to enter the batter's box. Section 72. 1 meter or 3-foot line. The 1 meter or 3-foot line is the area, the last half distance between home and first base where a batter runner must run to avoid being called out for interfering with a thrown ball from the home plate area or with the fielder's attempt to take such a throw while running to first base. Section 73. Option play. An option play is a play in which the offensive coach or manager is given the choice of taking the enforcement of the illegal action or the result of the play. Such options include catcher obstruction, use of an illegal glove, an illegal substitution, an illegal pitch, an illegal pitcher return to the game and pitching, a female batter on a 2-out walk or co-ed for SP only. Section 74. Outfield. The outfield is that portion of the field that is outside the diamond formed by the baselines or the area not normally covered by an infielder and within the foul lines beyond first and third bases and boundaries of the grounds. Section 75. Overslide. An overslide is the act of an offensive player when as a runner he overslides a base he is attempting to reach. It is usually caused when his momentum causes him to lose contact with the base, which then causes him to be in jeopardy. The batter runner may overslide first base without being in jeopardy provided he immediately returns to that base. Section 76. Overthrow. An overthrow is a play in which a ball is thrown from one fielder to another, resulting in the ball to going beyond the boundary lines of the playing field or becoming blocked. Section 77. Passed ball for FP only. A passed ball is a pitch that should have been held or controlled by the catcher with ordinary effort. Section 78. A pitch is the act performed by the pitcher in delivering the ball to the batter. Section 79. Pitcher circle for FP only. The pitcher circle is the area within 2.44 meter or 8 feet of the pitcher's plate. The lines are considered within the circle. Section 80. Pivot foot. The pivot foot is that foot for FP only with which the pitcher pushes off the pitcher's plate. For SP only, which mean when placed in contact with the pitcher's plate by the pitcher, must remain in contact with the pitcher's plate until the pitch ball is released. Section 81. Play ball. Play ball is the term used by the plate umpire to indicate that play shall begin or be resumed when the pitcher holds the ball, and A for the FP only is within the pitcher's circle, B SP only is on or near the pitcher's plate. All defensive players, except the catcher who must be in the catcher's box, must be in fair territory to put the ball in play. Section 82. Pre-game meeting. The pre-game meeting is a meeting held at the home plate area at a predetermined time between the umpires and the head coaches or managers or team representatives of the respective teams. This meeting is held to confirm and approve the lineups of each team and to distribute a copy to the opposition and review any special ground rules that may be applicable. Section 83. A protest or separate from an appeal is the action of a defensive or offensive team objecting to the interpretation or application of a playing rule by an umpire, or the eligibility of a team roster member. Section 84, quick return pitch. A quick return pitch is one made by the pitcher with the obvious attempt to catch the batter off balance. This would be before the batter takes his desired position in the batter's box or while he is still off balance as a result of the previous pitch. Section 85, re-entry. Re-entry is the act of any of the starting players returning to the game after being legally or illegally substituted. Section 86, removal from the game. Removal is the act of the umpire declaring a player ineligible for further participation in the game, other than as a coach, as a result of an infraction of the rules. Section 87, replacement player. A replacement player is a player required to enter the game for a defined period of time to replace a player who must leave the game to attend to an injury that is causing bleeding. The replacement player may be listed substitute who has not yet been in the game, or a listed substitute who has been in the game but subsequently substituted from the game, or a starting player who is no longer in the lineup and who is no longer eligible to re-enter the game. A replacement player is not classified as a substitute but must be reported to the umpire. Section 88. A runner is a player of the team at bat who has finished a turn at a bat, reached first base, and has not yet been put out. Section 89. Slap hit, for the FP only. A slap hit is a batted ball that has been struck with a controlled short, chopping motion rather than with a full swing. The two most common types of slap hit are those in which the batter takes his stance as if to bunt, but then either drives the ball into the ground with a quick short swing or punch hits the ball over the infield, running steps or within the batter's box toward the pitcher before making contact with the pitch with a quick, short swing or punch hits the ball over the infield. Next, Section 90. Squeeze play, for FP only. A squeeze play is a play in which the offensive team with a runner on third base attempts to score that runner by means of the batter contacting the ball. Section 91. Starting players. Starting players are the players listed on the official lineup given to the umpire-in-chief and or the plate umpire. Section 92. Stealing. Stealing is the act of a runner attempting to advance during or after a pitch to the batter. Stealing is not allowed in a slow pitch. Section 93 for FP only. Strike zone. Section 93, strike zone. For FP only, the strike zone is that space over any part of home plate between the batter's armpits and the top of his knees when he assumes his natural batting stance. For SP only, the strike zone is that space over any part of home plate that is between the batter's back shoulder and his knees when he assumes his natural batting stance. Section 94, substitute. A substitute is a player listed on the official lineup card who is a non-starting player who has not been in the game other than a replacement player. A starting player who has left the game once and who may legally return to the lineup. Section 95, tagging up. Tagging up is the action of a runner returning to his base or remaining on his base before he legally advances on a batted fly ball that is first touched by a fielder, not to be confused with the action of a fielder tagging a base or a runner. Section 96, team member. A team member includes any person authorized to sit on the team bench. Section 97, temporary runner, or for FP only. The temporary runner is a player who may run for the catcher of record from the preceding half inning, who is now on base with two out. The use of the temporary runner is optional for the offensive coach. The temporary runner must be the player who at the time of taking the option is scheduled to bat last and is not on base at the time the option is taken. Section 98, throw. A throw is the act performed by a fielder when throwing the ball to another fielder. Section 99. Time. Time is the term used by the umpire to order suspension of play during which the ball is dead. Section 100. Trapped ball. A trapped ball is a legally batted fly ball or line drive that hits the ground or a fence prior to being caught, or a legally batted fly ball that is caught against a fence with the glove or bare hand, or a thrown ball to any base for a force out which is caught with the glove over the ball on the ground rather than under the ball, or for FP only, a pitch ball that touches the ground on a strike prior to catcher catching it. Section 101. Triple play. A triple play is continuous action play by the defense on which three offensive players are put out. Section 102. Return at bat. A turn at bat begins when a player first enters the batter's box and continues until the batter is put out or becomes a batter runner. Section 103. Wild pitch, for FP only. A wild pitch is a pitch so high, so low, or so wide of the plate that the catcher cannot or does not stop and control it with ordinary effort. Section 104. Wild throw. A wild throw is a play in which a ball is thrown from one fielder to another and cannot be caught or controlled, is not blocked, and remains in play. Section 105. Withdrawn player. A withdrawn player is a player forced to leave the game or line up in accordance with the replacement player ruling. Next, rule number 2, the playing field. So rule number 2, section 1, the playing field is the area within which the ball may be legally played and fielded. Note, a ball is considered outside the playing field when it touches the ground, person on the ground, or object outside the playing area. Shall have a clear and unobstructed area within the minimum radius as set out in the distance table or Appendix 2 from home plate between the foul lines. Shall have an unobstructed area outside the foul lines and between home plate and the backstop as shown in the diagram in Appendix 1. Should have a warning track. If a warning track is used, it shall be an area within the playing field and adjacent to any permanent fence along the outfield and side boundaries. A minimum of 3.65 meter or 12 feet to a maximum of 4.57 meter or 15 feet from the outfield and or side fences. Made of material or dirt, gravel that is level with but different from the playing surface. The material must distinguish itself from the outfield surface and signals players when they are approaching the fence. Note, there is no requirement for facilities to cut a warning track in the permanent outfield surface or grass or otherwise. When temporary fencing is used, example, when a fast pitch game is played on a field designed primarily for slow pitch. Section 2, ground or special rules. Section 2, ground or special rules. Ground or special rules establishing the limits of the playing field may be agreed upon by leagues or opposing teams whenever backstops, fences, stands, vehicles, spectators, or other obstructions are within the prescribed area. Any obstruction on fair territory less than the minimum fence distances set out in the distance table, Appendix 2, should be clearly marked for the umpire's information. If using a baseball field, the mound should be removed and the backstop set at the prescribed distance from home plate. Section 3. The official diamond shall have base lines and pitching distances as set out in the distance table. Note, if during the game, the base distance or the pitching distance is found to be at the wrong distance, correct the error at the start of the next full inning and continue playing the game. Section 4. Diamond layout. For the layout of the diamond, Refer to drawing showing official dimensions of softball diamond in Appendix 1A. A detailed instruction to lay out a diamond within 18.29 meter or 60 feet baselines and a 14.02 meter or 46 feet pitching distance can be found in Appendix 3. Dimensions for the following are contained in the Appendix 2. The 1 meter or 3 feet line is drawn parallel to from the baseline starting at a point halfway between home plate and first base. The batters on deck circle is a place adjacent to the end of player's bench or dugout area closest to home plate. The batters' backs are located on each side of home plate. The lines are considered as being within the batters' backs. The catcher's backs shall be located to the rear of the batters' boxes. Each coach backs is parallel to the first and third baselines, extended from the bases toward home plate. The home plate shall be made of rubber and shall be a 5-sided figure. The sides shall be parallel to the inside lines of the batter's backs. The pitcher's plate shall be of rubber. The top of the pitcher's plate shall be level with the ground. The front line of the pitcher's plate shall be the distance from the back or point of home plate as set out in the distance table Appendix 2. FP only. The pitcher's plate shall have a circle drawn from the pitcher's plate as set out in Appendices 1A and B. Note, the lines that define an area are part of that area bases. The bases other than home plate shall be of the dimensions set out in Appendix 1D and shall be made of canvas or other suitable material. The bases should be securely fastened in position. The double base is approved for use at first base. This base shall be of the dimensions set out in Appendix 1D and made of canvas or other suitable material. Half the base is secured in fair territory and half the base of a different solid contrasting color is secured in foul territory. Rule 3. Equipment. Section 1. The official bat shall be of one-piece construction, multi-piece permanently assembled, or two-piece interchangeable construction. If the bat is designed with interchangeable components, it must meet the following criteria. Matting components must have a unique locking key to prevent uncertified equipment combination in the field. All component combination must meet the same standard as if it were a one-piece bat when combined or a portion of a one-piece bat if separated. Shall be made of one piece of hardwood or formed from a block of wood consisting of two or more pieces of wood bonded together with an adhesive in such a way that the grain direction of all pieces is parallel to the length of the bat. The bat shall be metal, bamboo, plastic, graphite, carbon, magnesium, fiberglass, ceramic, or any other composite material approved by the ISF or Equipment Standards Commission. Can be laminated but must contain only wood or adhesive and have a clear finish if finished. Shall be round and shall be smooth. Shall not be more than 86.4 cm or 34 inches long, nor exceed 1,077 grams or 38 ounces in weight. Shall not be more than 5.7 cm or 2 1/4 inches in diameter at its largest part. A tolerance of 0.80 mm or 1/32 inches is permitted to allow for expansion. Shall not have exposed rivets, pins, rough or sharp edges, or any form of exterior fastener that would present a hazard. A metal bat shall be free of bars and cracks. If metal shall not have a wooden handle, shall have a safety grip of cork, tape, no smooth plastic tape, or composition material. The safety grip shall not be less than 25.4 cm or 10 inches long and shall not extend more than 38.1 cm or 15 inches from the small end of the bat. Resin, pine, tar, or spray substances placed on the safety grip to enhance the grip are permissible on the grip only. If metal and not made of one-piece construction with the barrel enclosed, shall have a rubber or vinyl plastic or other material insert approved by the ISF Equipment Standards Commission, firmly secured at the large end of the butt. The insert of the end cap shall be firmly, permanently sealed so it cannot be removed by anyone other than the manufacturer without damaging or destroying the end cap or barrel. The butt shall be free of rattles. The butt shall not have signs of tampering. Shall have a safety knob of minimum of 0.6 cm or 1/4 inches protruding at a 90-degree angle from the handle. The safety knob may be molded, lathed, welded, or permanently fastened. Shall be marked by the manufacturer a prominent manner so as to be easily visible. Official ISF approved softball or other notification as may be selected and approved by the ISF Equipment Standards Commission. If the approval notice cannot be read due to wear on the bat may still be permitted in play if it is in compliance with ISF rules in all other respects and that compliance is determined with reasonable certainty. The weight, distribution of weight or length of the bat must be permanently fixed at the time of manufacture and may not be altered in any way thereafter, except as otherwise specifically provided in Rule 3, Section 1. The official bat shall not be an altered bat. The weight, distribution of weight, and length of the bat, as well as all other characteristics of the bat must be permanently fixed at the time of manufacture and may not be altered in any way thereafter, except as otherwise specifically provided in Rule 3, Section 1, or a specification approved by the ISF Equipment Standards Commission. Section 2. Warm-up bats. The warm-up bat must be of one-piece construction and it shall comply with the safety grip and safety knob requirements of the official bat. It must be marked warm-up in 3.2 cm or 1 1/4 inches letters on the barrel end. The barrel end must be in excess of 5.7 cm or 2 1/4 inches. Section 3. The official softball shall be a regular, smooth, seamed, concealed, stitched, or flat-surfaced ball. Shall have a center core made of either number 1 quality long fiber, kapok, a mixture of cork and rubber, a polyurethane mixture, or other materials approved by the ISF Equipment Standards Commission. May be hand or machine wound with a fine quality twisted yarn and covered with latex or rubber cement. Shall have a cover cemented to the ball by application of cement to the underside of the cover and sewn with waxed thread of cotton or linen. Or shall have a molded cover blended to the core or molded integrally with the core, and have authentic facsimile of stitching as may be approved by the ISF Equipment Standards Commission. Shall have a cover of the finest quality number 1 chrome tanned horse hide or cow hide made of synthetic material, or made of the other material approved by the ISF or Equipment Standards Commission. Softballs used in ISF Championship play must meet the standards set by the ISF Equipment Standards Commission and must be stamped with the ISF fast pitch or slow pitch approved mark adopted and approved by the Equipment Standards Commission. See Appendix 4 for approved ball standards. In co-ed, slow pitch play, male batters will be pitched with the 12 inches ball and female batters with the 11 inches ball. Effect 2 grams if the incorrect ball is used. The offense will have the option to accept the result of the play or request a repitch using the correct ball at the same ball and strike count. Adult men's slow pitch and male player in adult co-ed slow pitch will use the 30.5 cm or 12 inches ball with either COR .47 and under with 375 pounds compression or core 50.52 with 300 pounds compression. Section 4. Gloves and mitts. Any player any player may wear a glove, but only the catcher and first baseman may use mitts. No top lacing, webbing, or other device between the thumb and body of the glove or mitt worn by a first baseman or catcher or a glove worn by any fielder shall be more than 12.7 cm or 5 inches in length. The pitcher's glove may be any combination of colors, provided none of the colors, including the lacing, are the color of the ball. Gloves worn by any player other than the pitcher may be any combination of colors. Gloves with white, gray, or yellow optic circles on the outside giving the appearance of a ball are illegal for all players. Section 5. Shoes. All team members must wear a shoes. A shoe shall be considered official if it is made with either canvas or leather uppers or similar materials and is fully enclosed. The soles may be either smooth or have soft or hard rubber cleats. Ordinary metal sole and heel plates may be used if the spikes on the plates do not extend more than 1.9 cm or 3/4 inches from the sole or heel of the shoe. Shoes with rounded metal spikes are illegal. No hard plastic, nylon, or polyurethane spikes similar to a metal sole and heel plate are allowed in any division at any level of play. Shoes with detachable cleats that screw onto the shoe are not allowed. However, shoes with detachable cleats that screw into the shoe are allowed. Youth Division modified fast pitch and co-ed slow pitch only no metal cleats are allowed in any division at any level of play. Section 6. Protective equipment. Mask for FP only. All catchers must wear mask, throat protector, and helmet. Mask for SP only. Youth catchers must wear a mask with helmet. Masks are recommended in adult slow pitch. Face mask. Any defensive or offensive player can wear an approved plastic face mask or guard. Face masks and guards that are cracked or deformed, or if padding has deteriorated or is missing, are prohibited from use and must be removed from the game. Body protectors. All catchers in fast pitch, adult and youth must wear a body protector. Female catchers may wear a body protector in slow pitch. Shin guards for FP only. Adult and youth catchers must wear shin guards while on defense that will offer protection to the kneecap. Helmets for FP only. Any helmets that are broken, cracked, dented, or altered are prohibited and must be removed from the game. If a helmet is accidentally dislodged from its proper place on a batter runner, or runner, there is no penalty and the ball remains alive. Section 7. Equipment on playing field. Equipment that is not part of the official equipment shall not be left lying on the playing field in either fair or foul territory. The ball is dead if it contacts equipment that is not part of the official equipment. For offensive equipment causing a black ball and creating interference, the player being played on is out. If no apparent play is obvious, no runner will be called out, but all runners will return to the last base touch at the time of the dead ball declaration. For defensive equipment causing a black ball, runners are awarded 1 base from the base last touch at the time of the pitch on a pitch ball, 2 bases from the base last touch at the time of the throw on a thrown ball, or 2 bases from the base last touch at the time of the pitch on a fair patted ball. Section 8. Uniform. All players on a team shall wear uniforms alike in color, trim, and style. Reference to coach's uniform is found under Rule 4, Section 1B. Exception. Players and coaches may, for religious reasons, be permitted to wear specific head covering and apparel that does not conform to standard uniform requirements without penalty. Caps. Ball caps must be alike and are mandatory for all male players and must be worn properly. Caps, visors, and headbands are optional for female players but can be mixed. If more than one type is worn, they all must be of the same color and each of the same type must be of the same color and style. Plastic or hard visors are not allowed. Undershirts. Players may wear a uniform colored undershirts. It may be white. It is not mandatory that all players wear an undershirt if one player wears one, but those that are worn must be alike. No player may wear rugged, frayed, or slit sleeves on exposed undershirts. Pants or sliding pants. All players' pants shall be either all long or all short in style. Players may wear a uniform solid color pair of sliding pants. It is not mandatory that all players wear sliding pants, but if more than one player wears them, they must be alike in color and style except temporary, snap-on or velcro sliding pads. No players may wear rugged, frayed, or slit legs on exposed sliding pants. Numbers. An Arabic number of constructing color at least 15.2 cm or 6 inches high must be worn on the back of all uniform shirts. No manager, coach, or player on the same team may wear identical numbers. Numbers 1 and 01 are examples of identical numbers. Only whole numbers 01 to 99 shall be used. Players without numbers will not be permitted to play. Names. Individual names may be worn above the numbers on the back of all uniform shirts. Cast. Cast or plaster metal or other hard substances in its final form may not be worn in a game. Distracting adornments. No exposed items including jewelry judged by the umpire to be distracting to opposing players may be worn or displayed. The umpire shall require the item to be removed or covered. Medical alerts, bracelets, and or necklaces, if deemed distracting, shall be required to be taped to the body in such a manner that the medical alert information is visible. Section 9. All equipment. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the ISF reserves the right to withhold or withdraw approval of any equipment which, in the ISF's sole determination, significantly changes the character of the game, affects the safety of participants or spectators, or renders a player's performance more a product of his equipment rather than his individual skill. Rule number 4. Coaches, players, and substitutes. Section 1. Coaches. The head coach is responsible for signing the lineup card. Coaches must be neatly attired, including the wearing of suitable footwear or dressed in team uniform in accordance with the color code of the team. If a coach wears a cap, it must be approved headgear. Caps are mandatory for male coaches. An offensive team coach or base coach is an eligible member of the team at bat who takes his place on the field within the coach box. 2 coaches are allowed to give words of assistance and direction to the members of their team while at bat. One shall be stationed near first base and one near third base, and they are required to remain with both feet within the confines of their respective coach box. A base coach may address only his own team members. One coach can have in his possession in the coach box a score book, pen or pencil, and an indicator, all of which shall be used for scorekeeping or record keeping purposes only. A defensive team or team coach or manager is an eligible member of the team in the field who may be either a non-playing coach who remains in the dugout or a playing coach who takes his place on the field. This coach may give direction and assistance to his team while they are playing defense. Coaches may not use language that will reflect negatively upon players, umpires, or spectators. No communication equipment is allowed between the coaches on the field, the coaches in the dugout, the coaches and any player, the spectator area, and the field, including the dugout coaches and players. Section 2. Line-up cards and rosters. Official line-up cards are to be completed and submitted to the official scorer and the plate umpire at the start of each game. The plate umpire retains the card for the duration of the game. Player's name shall not be on the starting lineup unless the player is present in the team area and in uniform. All available players should be listed in the designated place by their last name, first name, and uniform number. Eligible roster members may be added to the available substitute list at any time during the game. The name of the head coach or manager must be listed on the lineup card. Male rosters shall include only male players and female rosters shall be include only female players. Section 3. Players. A team shall consist of players in the following positions. Fast pitch, 9 players. Pitcher 1, catcher, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, shortstop, left fielder, center fielder, and right fielder. Fast pitch with a designated player, 10 players, same as fast pitch plus a DP. Slow pitch, 10 players. Pitcher, catcher, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, shortstop, left fielder, left center fielder, right fielder, and right center fielder. Slow pitch with an extra player, 11 players, same as slow pitch plus an EP who bats in the lineup. Co-ed, slow pitch, 10 players, 5 male and 5 female, with the following positioning requirements: 2 male and 2 female in both the infield and the outfield, and 1 male and 1 female as pitcher or catcher. Co-ed, slow pitch with extra players or EP, 12 players, 6 male and 6 female, same as co-ed slow pitch plus 2 EPs who bat in the lineup. A team must have the required number of eligible players present in the team area to start or continue a game. Section 4. Starting players shall be official when the lineup card is inspected and approved by the plate umpire and team representative at the pre-game meeting. The names may be entered on the official lineup card in advance of this meeting. However, in case of injury or illness, changes may be made at the pre-game meeting with the umpires. A listed substitute may take the place of a starting player whose name is in his team's starting lineup. He would then be considered the starting player. The starting player so changed at the meeting could enter the game as a substitute at any time later in the game. Section 5. Designated player for FP only, referred to as a DP, may be used as a batter for any defensive player provided it's made known prior to the start of the game and his name is entered on the lineup sheet as one of the 9 hitters in the batting order. The starting DP may be substituted and may re-enter one time as long as he returns to the position in the batting order that he occupied when he left the game. The name of the defensive player for whom the DP is batting, known as the flex player or flex, will be placed in the 10th position on the lineup sheet. The starting player listed as the DP must remain in the same position in the batting order whenever he is in the game. The DP and his substitute or replacement may never play offense at the same time. The DP may be substituted for at any time either by a batter or runner, or the flex for whom he is batting may enter in his place on offense. Section 6. Extra player. An extra player, referred to as an EP, is optional, but if one is used, it must be made known prior to the start of the game, and the player's name listed on the lineup card as one of the 11 hitters in the batting order. If the EP is used, he must be used the entire game. If an EP is used, all 11 must bat and any 10 can play defense. Defensive options can be changed, but the batting order must remain the same. Co-ed only. If 2 EPs are used, all 12 must bat and any 10 or 5 male and 5 female may play defense. Defensive positioning may change as long as the co-ed positioning is followed. The batting order must remain the same throughout the game. The EP must remain in the same position in the batting order for the entire game. The starting EP may re-enter the game one time after having been substituted as long as he returns to the position in the batting order that he occupied when he left the game other than as a replacement player. Section 7. Re-entry. Any of the starting players may be substituted and re-enter once, provided such players occupy the same batting position whenever they are in the lineup. If a manager or coach removes a substitute from the game and re-enters the same substitute later in the game, this is considered an illegal entry. When a starting player re-enters the game and occupies a different position in the offensive lineup, it is considered an illegal re-entry. Section 8. Substitute or illegal player may take the place of a player whose name is in his team's lineup. The following regulation govern players in substitutions. The coach or team representative of the team making the substitution shall immediately notify the plate umpire at the time the substitute enters. The plate umpire shall report the change to the scorer. A substitute is not only officially in the game until a pitch has been thrown or a play made. If a substitute enters the game without reporting and after a pitch has been thrown, legal or illegal, or after play has been made, the player will be declared ineligible when discovered. The use of an unreported substitute, an illegal substitute, an unannounced replacement player, or the unannounced return of a withdrawn player under the replacement player rule is handled as an appeal by the offended team and must be brought to the attention of the umpire while such player is in the game. If the team manager or the team player in violation informs the umpire prior to the offended team's appeal, there is no violation regardless of how long the player or players were illegally in the game. All action prior to the discovery is legal. If the team in violation has no substitutes to replace the player declared ineligible, the game is forfeited. Section 9. Disputed calls. Section 9. Disputed calls. Any team member disputing any judgment decision by an umpire will constitute a team warning. Any repeat offense shall result in the ejection of the team member. Section 10. Dugout conduct. Coaches, players, substitutes, or other bench personnel shall not be outside the designated dugout area, except when the rules allow or when considered justified by the umpire. There shall be no smoking in the designated dugout area. Section 11. Replacement player. In the event of any player bleeding during the game, that player must be withdrawn from the game if the bleeding cannot be stopped within a reasonable length of time, or his uniform becomes covered with blood. The withdrawn player shall not return to the game until all bleeding ceases, the injury cleaned and covered, and, if necessary, his uniform is replaced. If a change of number is required due to the new uniform shirt, there is no penalty, but the umpire should be notified of the new number. The withdrawn player shall be replaced by a replacement player who may act for the withdrawn player for the remainder of the inning in progress and for the following complete inning. The umpire must be notified that a replacement player is entering the game. The replacement player shall be permitted to bat in the turn of the withdrawn player and field for the withdrawn player under all circumstances that would apply to the withdrawn player. The withdrawn player may return to the game at any time during the period of time as described in above without being treated as a substitution. The umpire must be notified that the withdrawn player is returning to the game. Section 12. Temporary runner for FP only. A temporary runner is legal for a catcher of record from the previous half inning who is on base with 2 out. The following provisions apply. It is optional for the offensive team manager. The temporary runner may be used any time after the second out occurred. The temporary runner is the player scheduled to bat last and who is not on base at the time the option is taken. Section 13. Violation and penalties. Team members shall not make disparaging or insulting remarks to or about opposing players, officials, or spectators, or commit other acts that could be considered unsportsmanlike conduct. The penalty or for violation by a team member shall be For a first offense, the offender may be warned. For a second offense, or if a first offense is considered serious enough by the umpire, the offender is ejected. A team member ejected from the game shall go directly to the dressing room for the remainder of the game, or leave the grounds. Failure of a person so ejected to leave the game immediately will warrant a forfeiture of the game. An officiating umpire may report a team member for offensive conduct, language, or physical abuse anytime after a game has been called, in which case the reported team member will appear before the organization under which the game or tournament is played.